just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this county and the Republic of Kenya. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Table office, kindly confirm whether you have the quorum.
Honorable Speaker, the quorum is not present.
Sergeant Atam, you can proceed to ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, the quorum is now present.
Welcome to this afternoon session, 20th September 2023 at 2:30 p.m. We can now have the order of business in the order paper. Order number 1.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Is Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek a statement from the chair, that is Honorable Matata, Chair for Administration and Public Service Committee, on the preparedness to manage and limit the impact of El Nino rain by the concerned department. Mr. Speaker, the World Meteorological Department has signaled to governments around the world to prepare to limit the impact of El Nino, which has been forecasted to begin at the month of October 2023. It's likely to bring about flooding, flash floods, and landslides. I seek therefore that the Chair for Administration and Public Service Committee do respond to the following concern. 1. Has the department concerned put in place a plan to train both response personnel and the general population on disaster preparedness response and recovery? 2. Some of the non-disaster hotspots prone to landslide and lightning in Nandi include Kapso and Kapoi in Kaptumo Kapoi ward. We have Tindret, we have Kapchorwa, parts of Kemeloi Maraba, and Terik ward, Kamwega in Mosop sub-county, among other areas. How many areas has the department concerned mapped out as disaster-prone areas for ease of coordination and response mobilization by the different departments, the Red Cross, and the other stakeholders? 3. Aware that most of the footbridges in Nandi County are either non-existent, and those in existence are non-structurally sound enough to withstand the anticipated volume of rivers during this period, which may overflow such footbridges. What is the department, in conjunction with the roads department, doing to firm up and improve on most important footbridges across the county? 4. Aware that the safety of school children, especially those under the ECD, is of paramount importance to all of us. What emergency plans has the county government of Nandi put in place to evacuate children in the event of flooding or flash floods? Is there plans to do a sensitization tour to schools on the necessary precautions to be observed during this period? I think, Honorable Speaker, we are aware that there is an El Nino coming, and Mr. Speaker, we have witnessed incidents of landslides in the area. So, in preparation of the same, maybe the chair on administration should maybe inform this House on the preparedness, so that, Mr. Speaker, we are not caught off guard. The Honorable Member from Kaptumo is aware that of late we have experienced even people being killed by lightning, especially on those areas of Kapso and Kaboi. And Mr. Speaker, we have seen landslides before, so I want to seek the same statement from our APO Chair for Administration and Public Service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chair Matata.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Actually, Honorable Speaker, what the member is actually requesting is actually valid because of the El Nino, the prediction by the weather department that very soon we shall have the El Nino rains. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to request that as a committee, in conjunction with the Department for Disaster Management, let me request that you give us 14 days so that we respond to the same statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Matata, I'm hoping that you're aware that this is a matter of, It is a very urgent matter. Is it possible that you can revert back to this house within 7 days? Considering that, it is an issue.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, let me try my best with my committee in liaison with the concerned department for disaster management.
Well, therefore, you granted 10 days to report back to the House.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Isaiah Maina, member from Olesos Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to seek a statement from the Chair, Agriculture and Cooperative Development on the subject of tea and sugarcane cess. Pursuant to Standing Order number 45A1, Honorable Speaker, cess is meant to benefit farmers through road construction programs. The conditions of the same roads currently in the county are in deplorable states, despite the fact that cess is being deducted and collected from farmers. This, Honorable Speaker, must be corrected. Honorable Speaker, therefore, I am also aware that the county government entered into some negotiations or held some negotiations with the multinationals as well as sugarcane companies on the question of cess. I wish, therefore, that the chairman clarifies the following, among others. One, informs this House as to why the memorandum of understanding entered between the multinationals in the area of tea and sugarcane companies was undertaken without the approval of this House. Two, that the memorandum of understanding is presented in this House for scrutiny. Three, to explain to this House whether, or rather on what legal basis, legal framework, that this cess is operating. It is based on what legal basis, framework. Fourth, how is the cess money accounted for? Is it the county government or the various companies deducting the same? Is the approach to cess between the county government and the concerned entities a private affair, or is it public? Finally, what is the guarantee that the funds so deducted from farmers will be used for the purpose which they were intended? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Agriculture. In his absence, any other member from the Department of Agriculture? Honorable Tildai, are you able to respond to that statement?
Mr. Speaker, I seek some more days, Mr. Speaker, so that I can take to my committee, and then because my chair is not around, and then we will answer it in this House, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many days is sufficient for you to make a response to that statement?
I think 1 week is enough for us, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can be able to file a response to this House within 7 days
Yeah.
from today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable Trufosa from Kemeloi, Maraba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to move a motion on prioritization of drainage in roads and survey prior to roads construction. Aware that most of the roads in Nandi are all wether roads. Further aware that the county government invests a greater percentage of development funds for construction of roads across the county. Noting that despite continuous construction and maintenance of roads, there has not been significant input on the face of it owing to the following factors among others: narrow feeder roads and the poor drainage. Considering that there is a widespread encroachment of public roads, the effort by county government to marram the roads as well as maintain them has never been sustained due to the condition of the roads, and the more often that some roads are not passable. Realizing that lack of proper drainage, the roads negatively impacts on the durability of a just concluded road as well as efficient use. Acknowledging that narrow roads occasioned by encroachment and the failure to conduct survey prior to commencement of the road construction, coupled with non-prioritization of placing appropriate water drainage is major entrance to roads durability as use. And the use. The public do not see the value for money, and their right to use the roads is limited. This House therefore resolves that the county Department for Roads prioritize undertaking drainage as a component along road construction and the maintenance and surveying of the roads, as well as placing beacons, installation of drainage system prior to commencement of the roads construction, whether in major or feeder roads. Honorable Speaker, sir, this motion is so important. We have already started creating roads, some, but the state of the roads in Nandi County are poor. Most of the roads in Nandi County have been encroached by the community. So it is in good condition that the surveyors should go and survey the roads before it is being created or constructed. We have the surveyors in place in Nandi County. We have the budget for surveyors. Why can't they use the money to survey our roads? Next is about the drainage. Even if they create a road without drainage, it is meaningless. You'll find most of the roads are being created, no drainage. After a few days, when the road has been created, it is being swept away. And it remains as if it has not been created. So, I request the TS House to pass this motion so that when we are going on creating our roads, they will be in good, they will have already been surveyed to make the measurements for the roads, whether in feeder roads or the public roads. And also drainage should be put in place by constructing culverts before the roads are created. So I urge this House to pass this motion so that it can assist us before we keep on creating roads without measurement of the survey. Thank you.
Yes, you've moved the motion, Honorable Trufosa.
I've been thinking the motion is not being seconded. When you have already moved the motion, you elaborate, and then you leave the motion for the members to deliberate on. Then afterwards, you give a right of reply. That is what I do.
Yeah, you are well within the process. I was waiting for the honorable member to second before the proposal.
Okay,
Yes.
I can still request somebody to second. I propose Honorable Maindi to second. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable members, I'll therefore proceed to propose the question that aware that most of the roads in Nandi are wither roads, further aware that the county government, aware that most of the roads in Nandi are weather roads, further aware that the county government invests a greater percentage of development funds for construction of roads across the county, noting that despite continuous construction and maintenance of roads, there has not been significant input on the face of it owing to the following factors, among others: narrow feeder roads and poor drainage. Considering that there is a widespread encroachment of public roads, the effort by the county government to maram the roads as well as maintain them has never been sustained due to the condition of the said roads, and more often than not, some roads are not passable. Realizing that lack of proper drainage in the roads negatively impacts on the durability of a just concluded road as well as efficient use, acknowledging that narrow roads occasioned by encroachment and failure to conduct survey prior to commencement of road construction, coupled with non-prioritization of placing appropriate water drainage, is major hindrance to roads' durability and use. The public do not see the value for money, and their right to use the roads is limited. This House therefore resolves that the County Department for Roads prioritizes undertaking drainage as well as a component along road construction and maintenance and survey of roads, as well as placing beacons, installation of drainage system prior to commencement of the roads construction, whether in major or feeder roads. Honorable members, the motion is now open for debate. Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, your mic is on. Honorable Sangutei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support this motion in totality. Having considered the factor of drainage and survey, because you find that in the rural areas where we come from, proper survey is not done. So will assist the users of the road to expand the road. The only challenge which we are facing as leaders is the issue of land use. Most of the private users, somebody can buy a land without doing thorough survey, whereby after doing survey, you find that maybe he was sold a road. The land piece which somebody might have bought is supposed to be reserved as road. So I'm urging the Department of Roads to use the county surveyors to do survey in all weather roads, in all the wards, especially in the rural areas, because in the urban towns, it is automatically that survey has been done. But major challenge where is in the rural areas, especially I'm urging that of concern. Even in Koyunruyo, we have the same problem. So I rise to support the motion in totality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
you can have Honorable Bitok.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. May I take this opportunity to support the motion? About this motion about drainage of roads, land is a natural resource, and land has an absolute owner who has the title deeds. In Nandi County, they don't have any permanent roads. All the roads that are managed by Nandi County are donated by the absolute owners who own lands. So when we talk of drainage, at first we had those feeder roads which are called lanes. And for those lanes, they were used by cattle and people to travel. So when you see about land, it arises immediately when the county government was formed, and people sacrificed and donated their farms as part of the roads. So there is no law that has been laid that these roads are permanent. They are not structured. And former survey, as we know, most of land in Nandi County was owned by the white settlers, the Wazungus. And immediately when they went, the first survey, the provisional surveyors, when you find them, our people from Nandi never took the provision serious. So when you look for the first surveyors who are there, hardly.
Honorable Bitok, just before you proceed further, you've said that in Nandi County there are no permanent roads.
Yeah.
That all the roads are donated by?
By the owners of the land.
Is that
by the people living in Nandi.
Is that factual?
Yeah. I can explain, Mr. Speaker. I can explain.
Honorable Bitok, will you wish to be informed by the Honorable Member from Songo Soba?
I think I'm not ready to be informed. Let me explain.
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to support his sentiment.
Apparently, that's Honorable Member from Songo, that will amount to informing him. Are you still interested to be informed by the Honorable Member from Songo?
Yeah.
Well, Honorable Chelule, kindly proceed.
Mr. Speaker, what Honorable Bitok has said is that the roads we have in Nandi have been donated by landowners. One case is my father's land, has a road which was donated by my father himself, and it has now become a public road. So I just wanted to support what he had said.
Okay, while you're still on your feet, now that the same was donated by individual owners, does it still remain to be personal property, or now it becomes a public road?
It has become a public road.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. You may proceed then, Honorable Bitok.
Thank you, honorable members of Songo. It does not belong to the public unless when it is demarcated and registered as part of public roads. Majority of the roads that I'm talking about are the roads that were donated by landowners, and they have not been identified in the map. Within Kenya survey of Nandi County, we have maps that certain owner owns 2.5 hectares. But this one, in the map, in the actual map, when you visit Nandi County survey, you will find it is still nil. So there is no law that you will take any owner of the land that you are doing wrong by draining water to a wrong place, because it is not yet being given to the public. So the best thing, all these roads must be identified.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, Honorable Matata, on what point of order are you rising on?
Number 90, on accuracy of facts, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, can the member for Nandi, Honorable Bitok, substantiate with facts the statements that there are no public roads, Mr. Speaker, sir? Simply because, Mr. Speaker, sir, when you go to issues to do with land use, even when a family is just subdividing the land of a family that belongs to a family, we are always provided for service lanes which is not less than 6 meters. And that translates to be captured in the various maps, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, unless the honorable member wants to tell us that those roads that is insinuating that they are not for public can be blocked any time. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, anything that has been given to the public remains a public property, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Bitok.
Thank you, Honorable Matata. The way I can substantiate, we have one road, and MCA, Mr. Bolbirech, can agree with me. St. John, Tajasis, to Jepangang, it has not been registered as public. I am among the members who donated. But when you see on the map, I still own even the land. But we just sacrifice, we are just, public are using. And even
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Number 90.
Honorable Bitok, you may remain seated.
Can the same honorable member substantiate that there are title deeds for roads to prove ownership of these roads that he's talking about? Because, Mr. Speaker, so what I know, any road that has been demarcated for public use, Mr. Speaker, is just meant for public, and there is no, and even in the maps, they are shown as roads that connect either village to village, or there are service lanes that serve families in a certain area. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, can the honorable member also tell us that he can produce documents that are showing public roads against what he's saying that they are private roads?
Honorable Bitok, and you've been called upon to substantiate that, and as you substantiate that, be factual. Try to be factual.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think normally, before you buy land, the first thing, you go for search. When you go for search, you find the title number and the owner. And immediately...
Point of inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Korir?
Mr. Speaker, I wish to inquire. It seems that we are deviating from...
Honorable Bitok, remain seated.
I tend to think that we are deviating from what the motion is talking about. You are now, we are discussing, subject of discussion is now becoming ownership as opposed to survey or demarcation of the roads. Kindly may I inquire so that we can be able to be on track.
Honorable Correa, as much as we're discussing over this motion on drainage, there arose an issue when the honorable member from Nandi indicated that all the roads in Nandi, rather most of the roads in Nandi, are not public roads. And that is why he's been called to task by the honorable member from Kapsabet to substantiate that. So proceed, Honorable Bitok.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some information, and maybe this one will go up to CC lands, and this action should be taken by the Nandi County because this is the information that we have. One, all the roads were either donated or sacrificed, and they are not in the map, as I'm saying. And even if today or tomorrow you go to Kenya's land survey and do some search, you will find that all those farms, even if you want to buy land today from somewhere, when you see it is still existing in the map, all those maps should be changed such that it shows this is a road. Only roads are the Vita roads that were laid when the first. So I am discussing this because all drainage must go to someone's land. But that is why when you see people, when they refuse, there is nowhere that you are taking them because it is sacrifice. All those roads, even from your area, Honorable Matata, can you tomorrow or today go and do some such, and then you see the ownership of land? They are not. It is only those main roads that have been damaged that they are, and former roads, which are used are former roads, are feeder roads and lanes that were used by animals. But this one, the normal roads, are not entitled and they have not been demarcated publicly. I think that is what I have for now, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Wow. Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support the motion, but before I support, Mr. Speaker, allow me to congratulate our EPO MCA for Kemeloi Maraba, Honorable Trufosa Kuto, Mr. Speaker, also known as Mama Yao. Mr. Speaker, when I was going through my statistics, she's among the 115 women MCAs who are elected. And we are privileged as Nandi to have 2 women, Mr. Speaker. And historically or psychologically, someone would expect maybe a woman of substance. Like,
is it factual that in Nandi County we only have 2 elected women?
MCS, Mr. Speaker.
Is that factual?
Yeah, I think it is. Oh, 3, Mr. Speaker. So, right. Sorry. Thank you for the correction, Mr. Speaker. We have, as Nandi, I think we are the leading, Mr. Speaker, with 3 elected women. That is for Kwaserai Ward, Chepteroi, and Kemeloi Maraba. Mr. Speaker, ideally, someone would expect a woman, honorable member, to bring maybe a motion on water, but Mr. Speaker, this is. The honorable member has revealed and shown that he has passion even for the people of Nandi. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you can see the 3 consecutive sessions for this week, we have been deliberating matters roads, Mr. Speaker, and that points to the direction that roads is a major problem in Nandi because there are 2 motions concerning roads which you have dispensed, and now this is a 3rd motion concerning the drainage. Mr. Speaker, someone may tend to believe that nothing has been done concerning roads. Why our roads are not durable, Mr. Speaker, is because we lack drainage. We spend a lot of government resources, construct a road, but because there is no drainage, Mr. Speaker, when water comes to the middle of the road, they wash away our road. So this motion is very important because it ensures durability of our roads. Because if we have proper drainage and the roads are marked and demarcated so that the required size, Mr. Speaker, that's why when this motion came, I was thinking of saying that most of our roads may be classified in quotes as Panya roads, Mr. Speaker, because that term was used to mean those little roads. So most of our roads, Mr. Speaker, may be categorized as such. That's why the honorable member for Nandi, Honorable Altim, was saying most of the roads, even in Nandi, you may tend to think that they are private roads because they have not been marked to the required standard. So this motion, Mr. Speaker, will bring on those the CC concern, to put in place measures for demarcation as well as drainage of our roads so that we get value for money, Mr. Speaker. So I rise to support this motion and congratulate the mover of the motion, that's Honorable Kuto, who happens to come from Aldai as I come from, Mr. Speaker. So it means people from Aldai, Mr. Speaker, are not easy people. We are people, we are honorable members of substance from Aldai, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Honorable Korir, then Honorable Mutual, thereafter the Honorable Member from Kapchorwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion raised by Honorable Trufosa Kuto. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, it is very clear that we are not saying and stating that nothing has been done in our roads in Nandi County. There has been a lot of works going on, construction of works within the county. The only thing that we required was that we add flesh on this durability of the roads by just ensuring that there is proper drainage. So I really want to arise and support the same. And good enough, we are blessed enough in this country that Nandi is one of the regions that is blessed with rains. And given the fact that land mass, majority of the land mass of this county is actually much hilly, then we really require a lot of drainage. So once that is done, it's actually going to help us. The other aspect is on demarcation of the roads. As I earlier stated, I was fearing that we might be deviating from the main aspect or the subject matter of the motion. It is very key that in most of our roads, most of them you will find that there is a lot of, there has been some encroachment on our roads, and constructing the same road and even to provide drainage when the roads are actually narrow, that is very difficult to the contractors and even the people who are concerned. So this motion is coming in handy to address the same issue on demarcation of the roads. Once we have enough space as per the maps, from the survey maps of Kenya as earlier alluded by Honorable Bitok, then we are going to go and be in the right direction so that it will also aid in durability of the road. Once we have enough space, we are able to have better drainage about the same, and the same is going to do good for us to ensure that we move it. So I want to request the House that we adopt the same motion so that we can be able to have proper measures. And nonetheless, we have been discussing for the last few days, it has all been roadworks. So I think this will add flesh for whatever we have been doing and the motions that we have earlier on passed. I support in totality. Thank you.
Honorable Member from Kosirai, Honorable Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Speaker, for giving me this chance. I also rise to support the motion of the day. I'm very grateful to our honorable member from Kemeloi for coming up with the problem that we have in our roads. Anyway, we have discussed about roads so much in this assembly, but I'm grateful now. The areas that were not captured has been captured now here, especially the drainages in our roads. If you look at the budget in our county, it's allocates very little money to maintaining drainage, especially the culverts. You might find that only 800,000 or 1 M is located to an award for drainages, and that is only 2 lines of culverts. And if you look at our land topology, hills and valleys, what can maintain our roads is actually drainages. Most of our people, especially the farmers, they don't like this running water to go into their farms. So you find the people who are just down the hills are suffering a lot because the waters from up the hills runs down up to the lower areas. So it has become a thorn in the flesh, especially when you divert. We found out that there are some even who are closing the culverts. If the culvert is put there, they just close the culvert so that the water does not pass to their roads. So actually, when we talked of the roads, since creation, there was no land which was meant for roads. Roads came as a result of settlement. When there is a settlement, there should be a what? A road that is accessing to those people. And that is why you find that people have to donate land because there is a settlement. And when the land has been donated, it is now a road. And the road cannot be called a road when it has not been removed from the title of somebody. So when our honorable member from those sides of Tindred said that that road that has no titles. So I don't think that there is a road which has a title. It is only that in those titles that leave some piece of land that shows that here there is a what? There is a road. And if there is no road, it has not been removed from those titles, I think that is a footpath. It is not a road. And even the machines should not go to that road because even the owners of that land will stop the machines from doing work in that piece of land. Because if they go for the maps now, it shows that there is no road. But if the people have agreed to set aside a road, then that is a public road. I don't think that we say if it is a private road, anyway, maybe it is in somebody's compound, in somebody's farm. And the private roads, actually, I don't think that the county government allocates money for the private roads. It is only for the public roads. So The thing now that we are talking so much about is the drainage system in our roads. And this is what is finishing even those marams. You put the marams and there is no drainage system, the running water will just cut across the roads. Within no time, the road is over. So actually the drainage should be allocated a lot of money, enough money. But when we talk about roads, the other time people say that it is expensive. There is no money which is less or more. It is only the willpower of our county government to see that our roads are done. A question of it will be expensive or it will not be expensive it is not something that will maintain our roads. It is the will, the leadership. If they have the willpower to maintain these roads, it will be done. Drainages, they should do some public participation to educate the residents the importance of having drainage systems so that their roads can be maintained. And even you can find some agreeing so that they work together with the government, with the county government, to see how best they can manage those drainage in their piece of land. It can be put even some dams, small dams, and that water can be done for irrigation after some times. When it is channeled, and then put some dams to be there during dry season, they can use it for irrigation. So there are so many ways we can really educate. So this is something which is collective. The agriculture sector, the land sector, the road sector can work together to see how best we can have all these roads with good drainages, and our roads can be maintained even up to some period. You can put maram and it can stay even for 2 years or 1 year. But now without drainages, 3 months, 2 months, it is over. So it is always a waste. Otherwise, I stand to support in totality what our sister had come up with.
Honorable Bet. Sorry, Honorable Bet, thereafter Honorable Mindy and Honorable Isaiah Minor, member from Olesos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support this motion by the Honorable Trufosa Kuto. This motion reminds me of the old days of Moi, where the chiefs were very serious on matters to do with roads. They used to strictly ensure that all roads have drainages. And I think we do all remember. It is now upon this House to push for the same. Mr. Speaker, sir, the durability of our roads is so much dependent on the drainages. The proper the drainages, the more the durable the road is. One of the greatest problems we have now is what Honorable Pitok has raised. Nowadays, if you find the length of the road, the standard road should be 9 meters. But sometimes, even currently, we do find a road with 4 meters, 6 meters, if you are to put drainages on the same. Because drainage actually occupies around 1 meter on both sides. So if the road is 4 meters, when you do drainages, surely what will you remain with? Even if it is 6 meters, remove 2 meters. So this is a very serious issue that all of us should push for the Department of Roads and Infrastructure and to ensure we not only survey the roads, but let us have the standard size of our roads. We cannot do a proper road without survey. And I think in the Department of Transport and Infrastructure, working together with MCS and the local administration, should map out all the roads within the Nandi County that has not been surveyed but gazetted, so that the county can have data on the surveyed roads those surveyed and not surveyed. This will inform the department on what to do while working on our roads. And I will say once again, I know this House will pass this motion. The buck stops at the implementation committee. We may sing from morning to evening. We may push many bills in this House, but with no implementation, it will be agoras as usual. Honorable Shangu from Lesos, you have a huge responsibility. Through the speaker, the MCA from Lesos, who is chairing implementation committee, has a huge responsibility to ensure whatever we pass in this House is implemented fully for the benefit of our people. I stand to support this motion. Let us all support for the benefit of our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me the chance to contribute. I stand to support the motion moved by Honorable Trufosa. In the case of surveying land, it's a very crucial issue, whereby I can testify that the MCA from my ward, is still battling with a case whereby he went to grade a land, a piece of road. Thereafter, he is still battling a case. It's a very crucial thing that we have to table and ensure that the Department of Roads work on this seriously. It's a challenge. You find a road is 4 meters, yet should be not less than 6 and above, whereby it's a very big challenge. Also the drainage. It plays a very key role in durability of the road, whereby when there is no drainage, the road deteriorates very fast, whereby it doesn't give value for money that we have budgeted in this House. I call upon the members that we work together, not only facing and giving the duty to the Committee of Implementation, because it's affecting each and every member, whereby we support him with full support, whereby we make sure that this one has been implemented. My only worry that I seek guidance is that it happens in my ward whereby we did some drainage using those kazi kwa vijana. I request that we have a bill that protects and guides us when we will be going to do this. If not, thereafter passing this, we make a bill to guide and safeguard those members that will be doing this work that we are putting them to task. This is another challenge that I raise in the House so that we make this achieved as per the intention of the mover of the motion. May you be blessed. Thank you. I support.
Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion, and I would like to say the following as I set out. Reading the motion, I think there are a few discrepancies in the drafting and so on. I would wish, Honorable Speaker, that the office of the clerk should be a bit more rigorous, should put more rigor into this. This motion has been poorly drafted. And sometimes it speaks at cross purposes. Like when you read, despite continuous construction and maintenance of roads, there has not been significant input on the face of it. Such a statement should not form a record of this House. It doesn't give us a good face. So I would like, Honorable Speaker, that we amend that so that it reads that despite that continuous construction and maintenance of roads, the conditions of roads in Nandi have remained poor owing to the following factors. As they are cited there. I'm proposing that amendment understanding order number 55 to Honorable Speaker. But as I say that, I would also like to make a few comments. That the mere fact, for the last few days, we've been discussing this, and that quite a number of honorable members have indicated here that it is not even clear what a road is in Nandi. And if you remember, Honorable Speaker, I sought a statement here, and I think it speaks to quite a number of the issues that we are talking about, where I wanted to know which are the county roads we have in Nandi and so on. This, I'm sure, the Honorable Chair for Roads and Infrastructure, once he brings that statement to this House, we would be able to start making progress on knowing what a road is, what is not a road, what size it is, where is it, and probably what we expect to be done. I'm also thinking, Honorable Speaker, that when we talk about surveying and saying widespread encroachment, sometimes we suffer the risk of shooting ourselves in the foot, because yes, there could be encroachment. As for whether it is widespread is another matter altogether, unless there was a matrix to determine that out of 100%, we have so many that have been encroached. So that probably this House should, using proper measures, request for the actual status of this, so that we can have a good impression of what is obtaining in the ground. So, in as much as I think it is important for us to pass this motion right now, so that the department can be guided to understand that drainage is necessarily part and parcel of construction. So as I look at it, I would hesitate to believe that there can be any road construction of any kind that precludes drainage. So any attempt to construct a road without paying attention to drainage amounts to waste of public resources. And not only that, Honorable Speaker, some of the times you will find the issue of culverts. And it seems to me that the engineers concerned have not worked out the proper sizes or even tried to measure the amount of water flow that is expected to pass through any of these culverts. And you find that immediately a culvert is put, it is brand new. In 2 days it is filled up and the water is flowing over the road and clogging the road, so that instead of it serving the purpose, it now even begins to become a bigger problem, because water then stagnates there and you have pools. You know, the places where culverts are sited, Honorable Speaker. So it would be important to use science. I normally wonder whether science is involved. There is another aspect. You would find that the culverts, once they are there, the first tractor to pass through it causes a collapse. So that the other thing that you begin seeing is somebody, probably meaning well, a well-wisher, comes to put there a mark, probably using a stick, a tire, or anything, just to indicate to you that there is an hazard. Because the culvert has collapsed, or there is a hole on it. Honorable Speaker, you remember that when the budget was brought, some budgets have been brought here, and it was indicated that so many culverts were done. However, we could not particularly understand in which place. I recall there was a point at which it was indicated that so many were done in Kaptumo, I think, Kaboi. And the honorable member then, at that time, voiced concern that he never saw one. Even including the question of emergencies. I think these are some of the areas that we would want to close so that we ensure that every time there is any attempt to do a road, let's have BQs. BQs must be there. And can the engineers use the science so that if you want to undertake a drainage, understand what is the condition of the soil around there, what do you expect to be the highest level of flow, so that you can either increase the size of the culvert and so on. Finally, Honorable Speaker, our roads, or whichever thing that we call a road, normally there is the vegetation that grows around. And Honorable Speaker, it's very dangerous. I think I've heard honorable members speaking about insecurity. And you would find that our roads are so bushy. I wonder whether there is any allocation for clearing. So this is probably something that should also be of concern to us, and I would like to urge the House that as we pass this motion, it even makes it more urgent for us to consider the bill. And I'd like to urge honorable members to support it, because I will be bringing a bill that captures all these issues once and for all. And yes, I thank you, honorable members, those who have mentioned that they have confidence in what I will do, and I promise you that I will indeed ensure that these resolutions of the House are not made in vain. I undertake that that will not be done in vain. Something must move, and let Nandi have good roads. Let all Nandis get home without having to remove their shoes somewhere and keep gumboots somewhere 10 years down into devolution. We are getting to 15. This is embarrassing, this is shameful. We should not allow it to continue, honorable members. Let us rise up to this occasion. Thank you, honorable member from Kemeloi, for bringing such a motion. Let's carry on. Thank you very much, honorable speaker.
Honorable Mosbey, are you seconding the amendment by Honorable Isaiah Minor? Okay. So, honorable members, I'll proceed to admit the amendment as moved by the honorable member from Olesos. And I will propose that the following words be deleted and in place be replaced. That is immediately after construction and maintenance of roads been significant input on the face of it, owing to the following factors among others, and the same be replaced with the condition of the roads has remained poor, owing to the following factors among others. I think we can be able to deliberate on that. Yes, Honorable Sum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to the motion. together with its amendments. I hereby support the motion, Honorable Speaker, because indeed we have been talking about roads all through, and it is our wish that we achieve the best when it comes to...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Tarbey.
Mr. Speaker, I think according to standing order number 1, maybe you should guide the member. He's contributing to 2 motions. I think we are in the motion of adjournment, but he's contributing to the motion including the amendment.
Honorable Tarbey, have I heard you say that with the motion of adjournment or amendment?
Amendment, Mr. Speaker. We are in the motion of
Honorable Som, kindly restrict yourself. The amendment is proposed by the Honorable Member from Olesos. That is to replace the word "there has not been significant input" on the face of it, and replace it with the word "their condition has remained poor."
Honorable Speaker, sir, I support the amendment as proposed by Honorable Minor. And then I go forward to support the motion.
Actually, that is the guidance that the Honorable Member from Nandi was asking, that I need to guide this House. As of now, Honorable Members, we're deliberating on the amendment and not the substantive motion. Yeah, you are done, Honorable Sum?
Yes, I support the amendment, sir.
Okay. Honorable Tarbe, Honorable Mosbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to support the motion as amended, and say that indeed the office of the clerk should up its game, because there is even nothing as weather roads. There is nothing in English as weather roads. It is all weather roads. Nonetheless, the content of the motion doesn't change significantly. And this aspect of drainage has been a big problem. Even in my own ward, there is a long road called Chepkongony-Kaptumo Road. And that road, the residents around it decided that they were not going to allow the drainage water into their farms. And there is a whole section of about 2 kilometers where the drainage is not, or rather the flash floods and the water from along the road is not allowed to divert. And they only divert in one point where now it is causing a landslide in a place called Cheptuya, just because of a drainage system that has not been done well. I am calling upon particularly the Department of Roads to come up with further regulations in order to ensure that there is no road actually that should be done without accompanying and regulated and working drainage. Because without it, as it has been said by fellow honorable members, the roads are not going to last, and also the roads, or rather the drainage along the roads can cause a disaster, as it is happening in my own ward. So as we come up with such motions, it is quite discouraging, because the department is supposed to be a team of experts that should uphold professionalism over anything else. Because you imagine a situation whereby you are told
your road is going to be done, but there is no budget for drainage. That is like flushing the public money down the rain, so to say. Because if drainage is not done in an area, Nandi is almost, has almost similar climatic condition, where water, or rather rains are every time there, and we are going to face the full brunt of the weather, especially El Nino, where now when the roads are narrow, and the roads again, there is poor drainage, we are not going to survive this. So I want to laud the honorable member for coming up with this motion. The coming of this motion is just but timely, because as we continue with our works 1 year down the line, such guidance is going to help in maintenance of the roads and ensuring that the roads are done professionally. However, the fact that the roads are what we call all weather, they are not tarmacked. The drainage aspect, the survey aspect, where the correct measurements or the correct width of the road is maintained, is going to help the great people of Nandi. So I support this motion. Thank you.
Honorable Sum, I thought you've already related on the amendment.
Honorable Speaker, sir, you gave me an opportunity to support the amendments, but I want now to contribute to the motion together with the amendments.
We're not yet done. We've not put a question as regard the amendment, so that we can go back to the substantive motion. Honorable members, you seem to be done with debating on this amendment. Can I proceed to put the question on that? Honorable members, I now put the question that immediately after the word construction and maintenance of roads, the word "there has not been significant input on the face of it" be deleted and replaced with the word "their conditions has remained poor." Will as many as have similar opinion say aye? Aye. And will as many as have contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Honorable Sum, you can now contribute to the substantive motion as amended.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to now contribute to the main motion together with the approved amendments. Okay, Honorable Speaker, sir, let me take this opportunity to thank Honorable mover of the motion, because such a motion is really long overdue because of the challenges that we face there at the ground because of bad roads. Honorable Speaker, sir, a road without a drainage, without the diversion of rainwater, always becomes a temporary river when it is raining. And all of us know the kind of erosion that will occur in such a road. And after the rain and erosion, you are left with nothing but furrows, gullies, without a road. So it is indeed important that construction of any road considers drainage of surface runoff, and also components such as bush clearing, sensitization of the community so that they can allow for drainage, beaconing after survey to avoid encroachment of the people on the same roads. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, there at the ground, again, we are facing a challenge of classification of roads. And sometimes we are not aware whether a road is classified as a national road or a county road. So it is important that such components should be factored in implementation of construction of roads. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is another component of compensation, especially in cases where somebody has donated a part of his farm to enable access of a road and easy construction. I hope such components, if factored in, will ease implementation and will make our roads passable and sustainable. I support this motion because it was long overdue. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Mutwal.
Okay, I thank you, Speaker. I also rise to support this motion with the amendment that has been done. Okay, changing the word from to the poor conditions of the road, despite all those maintenance and whatever is done in the roads. So with me is that during the time of kasi mtaani ama kasi kwa vijana, there was some good work done in our roads, especially opening of the drainages and clearing of the bushes. So with me here, I wished I could call upon actually the Department of Roads to set aside even some funds for this kasi kwa vijana ama kasi mtaani to continue, so that the same group can continue on drainages and clearing of the bushes on the road, because they did very good work during that time they were there. We had the youth from NYS, and also the county had supported some also. Our program can be brought back again because we have so many youth idlers. So we can give them, they can set aside some funds so that they can continue opening up all these drainages and maintaining the culverts and clearing the bushes. So that's what I see, that I put some hard on some amendment also too, for this one to be actually something which is sustainable for all the roads. Thank you.
Honorable Matata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this time to contribute to this motion that has been brought by Honorable Trufosa from Kemeloi, Maraba. Mr. Speaker, sincerely, Mr. Speaker, sir, the motion to me is actually timely, Mr. Speaker, sir. And Mr. Speaker, sir, if you check the contents of this motion, is that what is very important in any road construction, Mr. Speaker, is the drainage works. And for any road to last for long, the drainage should be done perfectly. Mr. Speaker, sir, in construction, we are always told that any road without drainage is no road, Mr. Speaker. And when you see this motion, the honorable member is actually putting in place measures that will help to make sure that in any road that will be constructed within Nandi County, we have the proper drainage works are done. When we talk of drainage, Mr. Speaker, we have the side drains, we have the mitre drains, we have the cross drains, which are the culverts, we have the bridges, we also have another element of scorechecks on areas whereby we have steep gradient, Mr. Speaker, sir. So this motion, Mr. Speaker, actually will help along in solving this issue to do with the road network in Nandi. Because, Mr. Speaker, sometimes you see a road is allocated, for example, 3 million. After some period, like 3 months, for example, currently we have heavy rains. You find that now, after 3 months, the road is done. We don't have the road. When you check why the road was constructed, and finally we are talking also of putting more allocations on the same road, is because of no drainage, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the last 2 sessions, Mr. Speaker, we have been talking of this issue to do with the roads. And when you check the construction manuals, Mr. Speaker, what actually we have been discussing are there in the construction manuals. It is only that the department are sleeping on their jobs. Because anything, they are there. Anything to do with drainage works. We have even to an extent whereby in steep terrain, it recommends the interval whereby a culvert can be placed. I personally, I know, in very steep terrain, Mr. Speaker, a cross culvert should be put at an interval of 200 meters. And on the side drain, the score checks are also installed on the side drains at an interval of 20 meters. So, Mr. Speaker, I think to get it clear is to support the bill that the honorable member from Olesos has actually promised to bring, so that we capture all that we have discussed, from the administrative measures to the acquisition of gravel and now the issue of drainage works. We all put it together under a legislation so that we can hold people responsible when these things are not implemented. It is very, very, very absurd, Mr. Speaker. I can give you an example. We have St. Mary's Road connecting Kamatargui here. That road is just, the river there is just 200 meters from the roads department. But to your surprise, Mr. Speaker, I've been talking about the installation of a cross culvert in the same area. And yesterday, when Waziri was here, I saw that culvert has been allocated resources. But for the last 1 year, Mr. Speaker, to your surprise, I've been talking about the same. And that culvert is just 200 meters from the offices of the roads department, Mr. Speaker. So if we cannot install a culvert which is 200 meters from the office, what about somebody like the member for Songo Soba at the far end, where he's bounding Kericho County? Will the residents of those areas actually be served, Mr. Speaker, sir? So I think, Mr. Speaker, the motion is timely, but now we want to request the member from Olesos to fast track the bill, to capture all these 3 motions that we have discussed in this house, so that we put them under our legislation, so that we can hold somebody responsible for non-delivery of services to the people of Nandi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the motion. Thank you.
Honorable Trufosa, will you wish to make a right of reply before we put the question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. I would like to thank the members for contributing for this motion. Honorable members, this motion will assist us because most of our roads are so tiny. For example, where I come from, when I'm going to my place, the road I'm using has been encroached seriously. So we cannot even pass by with a motorbike. They need somebody else to stand, to go aside for a motorbike to pass or a vehicle. So this is really a challenge. So members, as we pass this motion, it will elevate us all. And the great people of Nandi, they will really appreciate that this county assembly, the third county assembly, are really doing work. We are really representing them. So to me, it's only to urge our honorable member from the source, being the chair of implementation. When the motion has been passed, you go and make a follow-up so that everything will be in place. The coming bill, you have told us that you are going to produce a bill, it will also assist. So thank you so much, honorable members, for assisting me in this motion. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. Be blessed.
Honorable members, I'll proceed to put the question as amended. Aware that most of the roads in Nandi are weather roads. Further aware that the county government invests a greater percentage of development funds for construction of roads across the county. Noting that despite continuous construction and maintenance of roads, their conditions has remained poor owing to the following factors, among others: narrow feeder roads and poor drainage. Considering that there is widespread encroachment of public roads, the effort by the county government to maram the roads as well as maintain them has never been sustained due to the condition of the said roads, and more often than not, some roads are not passable. Realizing that lack of proper drainage in the roads negatively impacts on the durability of just concluded road as well as efficient use, acknowledging that narrow roads occasioned by encroachment and failure to conduct survey prior to commencement of the road construction coupled with non-prioritization of placing appropriate water drainage is major hindrance to roads durability and use. The public do not see the value of money and their right to use the roads is limited. This House therefore resolves that the County Department for Roads prioritizes undertaking drainage as a component along road construction and maintenance and surveying of roads, as well as placing beacons, installation of drainage system prior to commencement of the roads constructions, whether in major or feeder roads. Will as many as of similar opinion say aye?
Aye.
And will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, there being no any other prayer on the order of business today, the House stands adjourned until tomorrow, 2:30 p.m.